Alright, Shalom Akim. Alright. Back out here again trying to give you, more edification as concerning, things that are happening in this kingdom through the grace and mercy of Yahweh by Shimi Shai. Right, I'd like to start off by saying double honors to the elders of GMS. Right? Honest G brothers out there that be pushing this truth and sincerity day in, day out, week in, week out. Right? We nearly out of this kingdom like I say all the time. And just just trying to bring out information and edification as with regards to what's happening out there in the world. And this is a particular topic I didn't know too much about, and hopefully it's going to be edifying for the brotherhood. Right, I'll try to keep it as short as possible. Right, so this is 2 Peter 3:10, and this is with regards to what kind of mentality and what we're supposed to be expecting as this kingdom is getting ready to be destroyed by the power of the Lord. Right, it says. Right, but the day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night, right, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with a fervent heat, right, and the earth and the works that are therein shall be destroyed, shall be burnt up, so right. And that's going to show you what's coming to this kingdom. The Most High is getting ready to destroy this kingdom, right. You see it through the different civil wars that are happening out there in the world. You see it through the different uprisings that are happening in the world, but most of all, you see it through this word being brought out. Because the scripture says, one of the things that has to happen before he comes is that this world's going to have to go out throughout the four corners of the earth, right? And what's the medium that's being used for this word to go out throughout the four corners of the earth? The internet. Same means you're going to see this particular video being brought out, right? Is by the same means the Most High is going to establish and fulfill that particular prophecy, right? And it says, seeing then that all these things shall be all things that shall be dissolved, right? What manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and goodliness, right? And this is the conversation we gotta be in. This mentality that we gotta be in, which is being focused always on the destruction of this kingdom, right, and the pushing out of this word. And like it says in the next precept, it says, looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day, looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of the Most High, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. So that's the mentality we're supposed to be in. We're supposed to be looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of the Most High. All right, and pretty much with that said, we get into the with the article. It's the third time I'm trying to do this thing now. Esau's done throwing the devil's done throwing all kind of bones today, but through the spirit of the Lord, he's gonna get this video out. Right, it says the Syrian Civil War. That's the name of the article. This one's on Wikipedia. Right, we're gonna use 3 different articles, and I'll shout them out when we get to the point. It says the Syrian Civil War, also known as the Syrian Uprising or the Syrian Crisis, is an ongoing armed conflict in Syria between forces loyal to the Ba'ath government and those seeking to oust it. Right, and straight away we see red flags flagging in our mind, because we know this is another classic divide and conquer technique used by Esau, or the Ad Koyo, in other words. Right, a mantra of the banking elite, so to speak. Right, same thing he did in Iraq, in all the different countries that he's done been in. Right, like the scripture says, the scripture describes Esau as one who is not satisfied, first and foremost, and another way, not first and foremost, like that's one of the ways he's described in the scriptures, and another way that the Most High describes him as one that doesn't keep at home. Right, it says the conflict began on March 15th and 15th March 2011, with popular demonstrations that grew nationwide by April 2011. Right, these demonstrations were part of the wider Middle Eastern protest movement known as the Arab Spring. And the Arab Spring is basically the same situation that you have in Syria, where you have civil wars. Right, you have the main government, the established government, and you have the people, communists, uprising, usually armed. Right, it's not peaceful. It's not time for peace, where you have peaceful protests in the streets, where you want to take down the government. Right, you have a peaceful protest. Right, these are not regarding a peaceful protest. Right, these are all armed protests. That's why you have all kind of madness happening out here in Syria. right? So in the Arab Spring, right, this it's Arab uprising, right? And like the scripture knows, Ishmael is a wild man, but like I said, all of the, most of majority, in my own, my own, I suspect most of these are all ordered out of chaos, right? And a lot of brothers probably will agree with the same thing, but you know, like I said, like I say all the time, I'm just a little when as with regards to this truth, the people on a higher level will break this down to more diligent form. So if you've got any questions, just send them over to the elders and we'll answer those questions. Well, should the spirit be willing that those questions be answered, right? And it says protesters demanded that the resignation of the president Bashar al-Assad, whose family held the presidency in Syria since 1971, as well as the end of the Ba'ath Party rule, which began in 1963. So essentially, the Syrian war, right, is all about uprising of the people, right, the communists within Syria, right, uprising against their government, which has been established since 1963. Right, and we can pretty much close it up there, but it goes a little bit deeper, like the information I found here, right? And it interties with with different countries, because all of these different countries have treaties with one another or against each other, or should something happen, this is going to happen, and so on and so forth. And that's what we're going to see in the different articles that the Lord's presented before me. All right. Now this is this particular one. Is entitled "Syria warns U.S. not to intervene militarily." Right now, we have here, if you can see it, right, you've got 4 U.S. Navy ships right here: the USS Mayhem, the USS Barry, the USS Gravely, and the USS Ramage. Right, and those are all deployed within. It says the article. I'll read it from the article. It says there are now 4 U.S. destroyers capable of delivering cruise missiles, currently positioned in the Eastern Mediterranean Sea. Right, and that's all to counter, right, or to stop the Syrian uprising, which makes no goddamn sense, because if you're gonna stop a Syrian uprising, right, Syria is a civil unrest, right? The people are destroying themselves. What's necessary that what will cause a man to attack a country that's uprising against itself? People minding their own business, and that's how the scripture describes this man. He's a man that doesn't stay at home, right? And this goes deeper than that, because this is all going back to Iran, right, which is the prime target that this man wants to acquire, right? And then we scroll down, it says the Syrian government warned the U.S. that any military action against Damascus, right, would set the Middle East ablaze, right? Now, Damascus is going to be the capital. Let me just, before I misquote. Right? The computer done flipping let me, man. That's where we at. Right, so the Damascus, as you can see it right here, right? And Damascus, commonly known in Syria as Ash-Sham and nicknamed as the city of Jasmine, is the capital and the second largest city of Syria after Aleppo. So Damascus is the capital of Syria, right? Now we're back to the article. It says Syrian government warned the U.S. that any military action against Damascus would set the Middle East ablaze. Right, and this is in discussion, man. This is the hot topic right now, where with President or so-called President Barack Obama, right, is basically in the decision process, in the deciding process, is whether he's gonna go and set the American government out there, right, to take military action against Damascus, against the people apparently fighting against each other. Right, it says Damascus, Syria, all right, AP. Right, the Syrian government accused rebels of using chemical weapons Saturday and warned the United States not to launch any military action against Damascus over any alleged chemical attacks last week, saying such a move will set the Middle East ablaze. And we can close the book right there. Let me zoom in so you can read it for you. Right, like I said, it's on USA Today, of which it's always, something, you gotta take certain US media with, touch and go, because they throw a lot of bones out there for you, right? Right, but this, we can close the book right here and say, that's it. This kingdom's gonna be destroyed just off of this, right? But we're gonna, however the Most High is gonna do it, right? This might be the way He's gonna do it, right? Because the president of the president of Syria right here, right? The Syrian government, in other words, is basically saying, if America, if you gonna come here with your military action against our government, apparently fighting our own against our own government, right? The whole of the Middle East is gonna get set ablaze, and once the Middle East sets ablaze, in a sense that they're gonna retaliate with military strikes or with military strike back, right, against the American government, then guess what? The American government is gonna come in heavier, and so is Israel gonna come in heavier against those different Middle Eastern countries, right? But once those different, once those two cards come into play, that we know Russia, which has great allegiance with these with a lot of these Middle Eastern countries based on, oil exports from these Middle Eastern countries into Russia, and all kind of different treaties, right? That we know Russia is gonna get involved. So basically, what we're hearing here, it says Damascus, Syria. Right, the Syrian government has accused rebels of using chemical weapons Saturday and warned the U.S. government not to launch any military action against Damascus over any alleged attacks last week, saying such a move will set the whole world ablaze, is what it should say right there. Right, so this is the announcements of a world war. Right, but the majority of Jake is so infatuated by the frivolities of this life, right, then that they're blinded by this, like the scripture says, right, folly is set in great dignity, right. It says, the accusation by the regime of President Bashar Assad against opposition forces came as an international aid group, right, said it is told 355 deaths from a purported chemical weapons attack, right, on Wednesday in the suburbs of Syria capital known as Qatar, right. Syria is intertwined in alliances with Iran. That's a key word right there, right? That's a key country right there, because Iran's got strong ties with Russia, man. And we brought out just last week what would happen if America went into Iran. So if America takes any military, and remember, this can happen tonight, man. This can happen now. This could be happening right now as this video goes out. Which, hey, Yahweh Shem Yahweh, I pray it do happen. So this fucking kingdom could be destroyed, right? And it says, the accusation by the regime of President Bashar Assad against the oppositional forces came as an international aid group said it has told it has tallied 355 deaths from a purported chemical weapons attack on Wednesday in the suburbs of the Syrian capital known as Qatar, right? It says Syria is intertwined in alliances with Iran, Lebanese Hezbollah guerrillas, and Palestinian military groups, right? Sorry, militant groups, right? And it says the country also borders its longtime. The country also borders its longtime foe and U.S. ally Israel, making the fallout from the military action unpredictable, right? Violence in Syria has already spilled over the past year to Lebanon, right? So there's, it's just talking about how the violence, has spilled out into different countries, right? So violence in Syria has already spilled over to past Lebanon. In Syria has already spilled over the past year to Lebanon, Turkey, Iraq, and the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights, right? Vital hardened Hezbollah fighters have joined in combat alongside Assad's forces, right? Now let me see if any of the rest is going to be relevant to the topic, because I haven't, I was using a different article. Right, so pretty much that's it, man. This is what we've been waiting for, right? The big fallout, the big fight, so to speak. Right, now we're gonna see another article. Now this is on USA Today, and the name of the article is called Syria warns US not to intervene with militarily. Right, and as you've seen already, they've got four US so-called destroyers, which they ain't gonna be shit compared to the US, the USSR and China, naval joint naval strategies that have already been put in place, for a very long time, right, to counter this, right. And it says these are some of the capabilities that one of these missiles that these destroyers carry on board. It says cruise missile based on the Block 2 TLAM-A model, right? Capability designed to fly low altitude at high speeds, right? Evading radar detection and enemy fire. So one of these missiles, right? One of these missiles can fly without radar detection, right? So basically fly invisibly, in other words, right? And it's gonna hit the target. So one of these could be launched right now, and nobody will know until it hits, right? And pretty much from the rest of the article we're reading here, we see that once that missile goes off, man, it's beautiful times for us as Negroes, Hispanics, Native Americans, right? It's beautiful times for us because we get into the kingdom, man. It's pretty much for us time for a certain prophecy is gonna be fulfilled. Right, but this is predominant for this is the predominant prophecy that's going to be fulfilled, because this man has to go down, man. Right, there's so much wickedness is happening in his kingdom right now. Like it's like it says in the scriptures, prepare double unto her. Right, as in the Most High delights in the vengeance, delights in the destruction of this kingdom. Right, because we're likened unto the apple of his eye. So the destruction of the man who has touched the apple of his eye, he delights in. Right? It says this is a 20.3 foot missile. Right? So the average human is about 6 foot. So this is about four tall motherfuckers, lying down head to toe. Right? So this is a big ass missile. Right? This is 20.3 feet. Right? And its weight is 3,030 pounds, and the warhead is about 1,000 pounds. So this is going to cause all kind of destruction, right? That's one of the missiles that one of these has on them. But we already know that, the USSR and China have got all kind of battle strategies already prepared for all out chaos to break through at any point, right? And these US destroyers are already deployed within the Mediterranean Sea. So don't get it twisted. War could break out right now, and all of us should be praying that this kingdom be destroyed, man. Right? And if you're not praying, and this goes for me as well, if you're not praying that this kingdom be destroyed, you ain't in the right spirit, man. All right. Now let's go back to the different articles. Right. So this one's called Syria warns U.S. not to intervene militarily, otherwise it's going like it says right here. It was going to set the Middle East ablaze, and we already, I tried to bring out last week that if the Middle East goes ablaze, all out war, man, all out World War 3, destruction of this kingdom, Lord comes back, Esau captivity, heathens captivity, Jake on top. That's it, right? Now this is the next article. Right, let's zoom out a little bit. Right, and it says this is Russia warns U.S. over Syria. Says Obama like Bush, right? Will anyone ever push the reset button? Right, and we're reading an article right here now. Let's zoom in a little bit. Right, it says, will anyone ever push the reset button on Russia-U.S. relations with current embargo, which means confusion over Syria? Right, the answer to that question at the moment is decidedly nuanced, right? Moscow urged Washington on Sunday not to repeat past mistakes in the Middle East when dealing with the alleged use of chemical weapons by Syria. by Syrian President Bashar Assad. Washington said Assad used it before. Russia said they Russia said they did not. Right? And what does that sound like? Right? That sounds like fulfillment of scripture right there. It says rumors of war. He said, she said. That's rumors, man. So we type in rumors of war. Right? That's he said, she said, man. Rumors. Listen. That's spelling the damn thing right. So like, bear with me. No. Yeah, that's the correct spelling. Bear with me. Go. Right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here's the beauty. Right, and it says. This is Matthew 24:6. It says, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, and see that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." So we're gonna hear rumors of wars, right? But the end is not yet. So certain things are still gonna play out. You know, the elect is gonna be sealed, right? And other prophecies is gonna come to play, right? So we read this one from the second paragraph, and it says, "Moscow urged Washington on Sunday not to repeat past mistakes in the Middle East when dealing with the alleged use of chemical weapons by Syrian President Bashar Assad. Washington said Assad used it before. Russia said they did not." Right, and that's pure and simple rumors, right? Doctors Without Borders and Syrian opposition say that more than 300 people died after an alleged toxic gas attack in an eastern Damascus suburb on Wednesday, but Syrian authorities denied the claim. Of course, why make this black and white? Meanwhile, U.S. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel said Sunday that President Barack Obama has told him to prepare options for all contingencies, right? While the White House is deciding whether to use military force against Syria, according to various U.S. News agencies. So, man, it's pretty much war. All right, it's pretty much war. You know, getting out in there. Right, and it says shortly after the news broke, Russia's foreign ministry said in a statement that alleged chemical attack could not be a staged provocation by the Syrian opposition that the U.S. might use to pretext to go after Syria. Right? Let me just read that again and get the meat out of that. It says shortly after that news broke, the Russia's foreign ministry said in a statement that the alleged chemical attack could have been a staged provocation, right, of which it was, by the Syrian opposition, and that the U.S. might use it as a pretext to go after Syria, right? So we know it was a staged thing, because if you're in the know, you know this man uses a motto called all out chaos. Right, and by that motto does he live by, where he creates all kind of chaos out in the world so he can establish his own order. Right, and it says all of these makes one recall the event that happened 10 years ago, which is talking about Iraq. Yeah, when using false information about Iraqis having weapons of mass destruction, the U.S. bypassed the United Nations and started a scheme whose consequences are well known to everyone. Right, the ministry said in a web posted statement, right, there were never any weapons of mass destruction found in Iraq, and numerous of reports by UK and US government at the UN were actually old information, some of it plagiarized. Right, so we see that Esau works in, you know, Esau is like the scripture says, lies are underneath his tongue. Lies are sweet in his mouth. right? He can't hide it, right? And this is what, you know, these are some of the lies he pushes out there so he can try pursue what he wants. We're gonna see that in the scriptures in Malachi in a second once I've finished got the majority of the meat out of this article. It says they want from Russia's view, President Obama is just another Middle East war-loving George W. Bush, right? And pretty much that's it. You know, notwithstanding, there's already, you know, stuff that I've brought out that's relevant. That's relevant, but it's also in this article. Right, this particular one is on Forbes.com, and it's called "Russia Warns U.S. Over Syria," says Obama like Bush. Right, and that's pretty much it. Nice and simple. Right, war is out there. The drums of war, are being played out here. Right, and Oblaba right here. Right, you can see, you know, whoever done a nice work with it. You can see he kind of looks like Bush. Done Photoshop the damn thing. Right? Because at the end of the day, it comes down to that this man is just a puppet, just like George W. Bush was. Right? He's not he's basically not governing. He doesn't lead anything. He doesn't do anything. He does what the elite banking families want him to do. And what the elite banking families want to do is establish that so-called New World Order. Right? Which the Mossad is not going to let let out there. But like I said, pretty much that's it. You know, read the articles, see what's happening out there in the world, because the news definitely didn't tell me this, and I've been trying to look at the news a few times, but it didn't tell me that, you know, all that war is gonna break loose if the U.S. and her 4 destroyers, right, intervene within the Syria civil war. Right, and pretty much we're gonna say, you know, it's gonna sign out and say double honors to the elders of GMS, you know, to water Yahweh, your outside for this knowledge, this truth, and the strength to push this truth. Right, all praises, you know, unto the Most High. Honest to you brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity, you know, and stay up. Right, and it's gonna be beautiful times for us, right, because we're at the end of our catching our hell, and we're gonna be in that time of you know, laughing our ashes off, like Proverbs 1:26 on down says, man. Right, so this is beautiful times for us, right? You know, stay up in the use, stay up, right? With that, I'm gonna say shalom.